my screen. Can you see the JADE login?
Yes.
Okay, great. Then we'll go ahead and get started. I wanted to start clear from the opening page, just so that as on the recording, we can show people what that looks like as well. I know both of you have probably been on, right?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So the thing you need to know about JADE is it is not connected to the school. It is a separate entity. It's a separate website. It's a separate web page that we put enduring material on. For faculty, I put things on there for residents, for house staff to refer back to. They don't use it near as much as faculty does. It is about $12,000 a year to keep it up and going. And it is available to all health science faculty. So not just School of Medicine anymore. Bo Dunley a few months ago gave us the okay to get that word out. And I am trying my best as I get out faculty development follow-up and trying to get the word out to all of the different health sciences that may want to participate. So it would take me entering all of the usernames, and it really is just a first name, last name, and an email. We prefer them to use the Creighton email. It's just easier for me to find and for me to keep updated, but it's not necessary. People can use whatever email they would like, especially those that are not on Creighton email very often. If they would like to get on, they can definitely use any email that they want. So that is a benefit. They do not need their net ID, their blue ID, and password. So that is another benefit. And the material on here, I feel, is we are able to add things to it, resources and links and articles, and make connections within the program from one module to another module fairly easily now that I've been doing it on a pretty regular basis. But I think we're able to add a lot of that, and it looks a little nicer, a little more professional than just getting on Blue Line. Now, Blue Line is also available for faculty and for house staff, and as you know, also for students. And we can create courses on there, and we can add things on there as well. But JADE was really created because not everybody is using their net ID. Not all of our faculty have a net ID, and we're trying to find a place years ago to have a repository of material. So just some general things about JADE. All right, now you get some news here on the side. It's just because we're here in Phoenix, the administrators of JADE, there's 3 of us and we're all here in Phoenix. We usually have Phoenix news and things going on the side. But there will, as we get the PA program up and running here in Phoenix, we will also start adding more here. We would, Gail, like to add a lot more here in the interprofessional education tab. We do not have a lot of material here right now. And down this right side, we do have quite a lot of links that could be useful for people that are in Phoenix or in Omaha. So you can see those there.
So you could link to CYPR, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
You could actually, oh, look right here. No, that is professional education. Never mind.
Yeah.
I don't see it on here, but we could definitely add a link here, and we could even link it here once we get inside here. So let me see if you can see on your screen. If I click on a button, do you see the change?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. So just some general IPE information and definition. We've got Jesuit values there, and some a little bit of Cyper here. Oh, and it does link here to the Cyper page.
Okay.
Okay, but we could make that more upfront, and we could make that more just right there within our links. Down here on the right side, I can also add that. So I'm going to make a note for myself that we could also do that there. But you can see how there's some growth that could happen there in that IPE button. Now, I'm going to skip this top stuff for just a minute to look down here at my areas of practice. I have all the areas of practice here because I have a different login because I'm administrative with JADE. So you won't see all of these blue buttons. You'll just choose the ones that make sense for you. One of the things we have been asked to do, and I've been trying a little bit at a time, is to narrow the areas of practice to maybe 20 that would be used pretty frequently, so that we don't have all this, we're not being spread so thin, because it's not like anybody is keeping up all of these pages. Now you could go, say we go into pediatrics, and you could get to the Omaha pediatrics page, you could get to the Phoenix pediatrics page. There are some featured content down here from Randy, one of our radiologists here, and our dean, who has done some videos that are related to pediatrics, and we have put those on there as well. If we go into Phoenix pediatrics, then we have some buttons that are fairly filled out, but each of the areas of practice they don't all look this full, because we don't have somebody that is taking care of that one page. And really the JADE website really would need kind of a 1.0 FTE to take care of all of those behind the scene button pages. Now, my areas of practice, we are trying to get those a little more narrow. And for example, surgery, we used to have about 12 different surgery buttons. There would be a hand surgery, there would be a heart surgery, there would be all these different kinds of surgical specialties. And that is one of the places that I already narrowed down to just one surgery button. We feel like once we get these buttons built out a little more, kind of like the pediatrics one, people are going to be able to find their things that they're looking for in their area of practice. And then you also have things that are not as clinical. So you have professional roles and memberships. And again, somebody who, like yourself, logging on, choosing your own professional roles and memberships, you get to choose which buttons you see. You would not see all of these. And again, we have tried to start narrowing this a little bit, but it still needs some work there. We have a little bit of faculty focus down here. And then upcoming events, we have not been keeping up with this. I used to do the Grand Rounds schedule on here when I was in charge of the Grand Rounds scheduling and marketing, but I have not done that for a while. So it's not updated. People can do an evaluation of the actual website and make some suggestions, and they can even be somebody that says, hey, I want to help in this area. I want to take on a page. Maybe I'm in oncology and I want to build out the oncology page. Then they can request to do that here. But let's jump back up to the top. The three buttons that I keep fairly updated and has new material are these three: educator development, and we'll look at that in just a minute; research support, and I'll look at that in a minute. And the reason I keep that one up is because I have people that are coming to me saying, hey, can we get this on here for our graduate level faculty that are needing some research ideas and how to get started. So I've been keeping that one up because I have people coming to me saying, here's a video, can we put this on? Here's a workshop, can we put this on? And I'll show you that in a minute. And then the other one that I keep very current is the GME, and this is specifically the Med Ed Grand Rounds that we do here in Phoenix. Now, the way they handle Grand Rounds in Omaha, I believe each program is doing their own rounds, and then what they're doing is putting that material onto Blue Line so that house staff can get back to it later. The way that we do it is we do a live presentation, and we stream it from one hospital to the other hospital that we have here in Phoenix, and we feed them lunch, and we do record the session. I put the recordings on here with any related content. So then if a resident has not come to one of our general Med Ed Grand Rounds, which we have about 9 times a year, these are like big umbrella ideas. So you might, if it's covering the ACGME required learning material, that those education sections for residents specifically. But you may have something where there's a learning area called wellness, well-being. Well, that's really big, but one year we might do financial wellness. Another year we might do burnout and resiliency, things like that. So I'm going to start right here with this one. This is our GME page. It also has some links to Omaha and then also to the Alliance, which is where GME is housed right now in Phoenix. So I do have those links there. We have a residence as teachers video here that is required, but sometimes we do that in person as well. But here's our GME Grand Rounds. And this is the one we just had, social determinants. We've got all of the pain management and addiction that is also required. So if you click on one of these, then you can come a little further in. You can see all the different parts to the module. And then you can see the recordings. You can go to the recording by just clicking on the picture. You can also go to their PowerPoint PDF, a PDF version of their PowerPoint by clicking right here. And you've got all 4 parts within the module. So they don't have to go to a separate place to find all the different pieces of this module. You can also, they can also click here to get the slide presentation, all 4 parts of the slide presentation, all in one document. And then we also have some related articles and resources. Stakeholders, the 2021 GME Stakeholders Congress, pain management from Congress, and ongoing opioid crisis response. You can see the different articles that we've got here. And then I do have the contacts here. And then the nice thing about what we try to do with all of our material that I put on JADE is I try to link it to the CME tracker. So if they click on the CME tracker, they can use these activity codes. They can fill out the survey and receive a certificate. Now the certificates would only be for faculty. The CE would only be for faculty. But pain management is one of those things that crosses a little bit between GME and faculty. So that's why I showed you that one. GME, or the residents, the house staff, don't need CE credit. Most of their material is just required. And if they do not show up to the presentation, or they have a video to complete, like the pain management, we just put it on new innovations for them. And then they have a checklist on new innovations. And that's how residents do that. Okay, so we've looked at the GME. I'm going to go quickly to the research support button. We have brand new, within the last couple of months, videos for each one of these workshops. So we've got 9 brand new research workshops. We're going to click in one of those in just a minute. And then we have some general research videos. Some of these are new, some of these are a little bit older, but this is a brand new one, creating and presenting a research poster. That kind of material can cross over. It doesn't have to just be medicine centric, even though somebody in the School of Medicine is presenting for us on this poster video. It really can work for any health sciences that are trying to get a poster out. So there's a lot of good material in here that is not medicine centric. We've got some research brainstorming sessions that have started up in March and April, and they have started sending me those videos as well. And I haven't received the May one yet, but we will get that on there as soon as we get that. And those are really great to watch, to kind of see what people are thinking of doing, the kind of studies that they would like to start putting out there. And there's some really great brainstorming sessions there. If you click on one of these, then you can see more clearly who is going to be speaking and what their topics are right here. And then you see the video here. Now, things like this do not have CE credit attached to them. They're more resource oriented, and we don't have CE credit attached to them. The other thing we had down here are just some articles. So I'm just going to click on one of these so you can see. Here's questions and hypothesis. And this is workshop 2. And within workshop 2, they can see the slide presentation. If they click on this, they can get to the slides. And you have video 2.1, video 2.2, video 2.3. So they have divided these up within the workshop so that they are very, very small, easy to digest videos. And I've got the titles with each one of them. So I put the title, develop a research question. If they just want information on that, they can watch that video. So it's very fine-tuned once you get into the workshops.
So it looks like the workshops are all done by Ryan Walters, is that right?
Yep. He just brought those to me just within the last couple months.
Yeah.
And a lot of great material in there. You can see the different topics.
So those are new videos, because we had uploaded probably a dozen a couple of years ago.
All brand new, new. And I do like that he divided them up into sections so that when you get onto, I'm getting onto workshop 8, and I can see the slide presentation with everything all together, but then the videos are just small, digestible material where you can really drill down and just find the material that you wanted. But lots of different pieces to these. I mean, it was dozens and dozens of videos by the time we got done getting it all on here onto JADE. Yes, good questions about the research videos. And then I do want to show you the educator development, which is where I house all of the faculty development sessions. Even if it's a faculty development session that was generated maybe by a medicine department in Omaha, or maybe the diversity, equity, inclusion department. If we were any part of it where maybe I was helping with marketing, maybe I was helping to get a flyer together, maybe I was helping with the CE credit, I still have put the video on here. So these are not all videos that the Alliance Faculty Development have put together. It has some variety to it. Now, the way these are set up is they are thumbnails with pictures, and you can just kind of see just a little bit of the beginning of the title. But if I go into here, Pursuit of Peak Professional Performance, then I can see it was a faculty development session in May. It was by Lori Badke. Here's the video recording. Then you have the slide presentation that everyone has access to, and then related resources. Now, some of these are links. You can kind of see how the color changes a little bit, we don't have a lot of color choices in JADE. You know, there's some pros and cons as we're working within it. There's definitely things that we would like to do a little different, but, and this is one of them. We don't have a lot of color choices here. So and once you click on it and then watch it, it will change colors. So anyway, we've just tried to bold those areas where you can click and you can actually go to these articles online. So these are all clickable resources. And then you have the CE credit down here. So you can get onto, I've linked to the CME tracker so they can actually get on here, put the code in, or they can just do it on their cell phone. There's even a PDF that walks them through all of the instructions for receiving the CE credit. So I've tried to include that on any of the faculty development pieces that I personally have put in the CE credit because I have access to all of those. But again, with the faculty development, you can see I've got the pain management and addiction on this one. So it would link to that same page that they receive in GME, that is required in GME. So let's click on this one here, support for the struggling learner. This is one that I did with Rachel Jones, our other academic success consultant here in Phoenix back in February. We've got the video recording. We've also got the YouTube link so that they can also watch it on YouTube if they would like to. And then they would also be able to see our Creighton University Health Sciences Phoenix YouTube channel that we have just updated within the last couple of weeks. So you can see the slide presentation, but look at all these great resources. So people can click on these and they can go straight to these links, these web pages, or some of these are books or articles, and then they can find those as well. And then again, the CE tracker is down here. So these are the pages that I keep up the most: the GME, the educator development, and then we do have on the educator page, we do have a faculty courses that they could take. These are fairly new: interviewing with purpose and virtual interviewing. We've done these two just within the last couple of years. And then we do have some articles down here as well that might be helpful for faculty. But you can see as you hover over them, you can kind of see the idea of what they're about. But these are the 3 buttons that I keep up, along with my other responsibilities. And we would love to eventually have somebody really taking care of JADE on at least a 0.5 basis, if not a 1.0 basis, because then I feel like we could really build out these other buttons that we have for communities of practice. And especially like within our departments and the areas of practice, I think would need a lot of help as well. But then somebody could actually reach out to the departments and say, what kind of material do you have? What kind of enduring material do you have that you would like all of your faculty to be able to have access to? But right now, it's pretty much me, a little bit. Rachel has been putting things on, and that's kind of it. So I try to take whatever material we already have, put it on there, and I haven't been diving into a lot of the buttons to create new material at this point. We're using the material that we've already, like last week, we just had a faculty development session, so I make sure that gets put on here. I look for related resources from either the speaker or other related resources that I have access to get that material on there. Then I am also putting everything that we have here in video form. I am just putting the video and PowerPoint, not all the other related resources, but the video and the PowerPoint I am dropping onto Blue Line so that GME has access to it, but from Omaha and Phoenix. that want to log in with their net ID and get onto the Blue Line, and then also faculty. Our faculty here in Phoenix has a little bit harder time getting on with their net ID. Some of them don't have one. If they are faculty just doing one class here and there for us, they may not be registered with a net ID. So we try to get the material out the best we can on Blue Line and also JADE. But this is what JADE looks like, and we would love to have more health sciences on here and getting more material on here as well. Any questions for me?
Yeah, Jessica, I think, yeah, this is great. I can imagine you're working 150% to try. I mean, it's a full-time job just to care and feed any kind of website.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a lot of potential to build out what the health professions education piece, because we share similar needs for sure. And, you know, I know that the Lou Jensen is doing quite a bit of good work in the school pharmacy and health professions, and using some subscriptions as well to Magna and some others that have, you know, materials. I work with a group here in physical therapy. We've done some pretty creative kind of one-page kind of infographics, very similar to what UCSF has done in medical education. That model, they've got a very quick snapshot. Here's what a master adaptive learner, here's adaptive expertise. Here's what workplace learning means. You know, and they're
one-pagers.
Yeah, one-pagers. They're very robust. You can download them from UCSF. I mean, I think they're, you know, I'm sure they're Pat O'Sullivan's creation. And so we have some young faculty that have done that here on clinical reasoning. So, you know, I think it's a matter of finding out what are everybody doing and maybe start to put together some kind of pilot. I don't know.
And I would love that kind of material. I would love to start putting that on here so that we have things all in one place.
Yeah.
The thing I want to make sure is that we're also making a connection for all of the health sciences faculty and at least the leadership that this is where it's at. And
yeah, because the idea of the one page and the work that it is to connect to clinicians. I mean, that's the idea. Here's a learning science concept, but here's what it means if you're doing clinical teaching. Right?
Yeah, totally. And if they are on JADE, if they have an active account, if we've got them set up as a user, then it's an option for them and they have the link and they can get to it. But I fear that we would put a lot of material on here and then not have the other end of it, the other important piece, which is the participants, making sure they have access to it, or know that they have access to it once we get them as users.
But I think there are similar barriers to what you found with the clinical faculty in getting access to our university website. So I think almost every health profession has that. Clinical faculty out there in the clinic can't get on because the security issues can't get on.
Yeah, is yes, and that is why I think in the beginning that they started reaching out to try to find the thing that they wanted to use. Now, we have looked at some other websites, we have looked at some other options, but really, we already have this one up and going. We already have I do it, and so we don't want to necessarily use another platform.
Yeah,
just want more.
No, I get it. You know, and I would also say that, holy smokes, I mean, the university website is so focused on marketing, and that it's and even trying to get into the intranet site it's really challenging. It's challenging
for sure. There's just a different focus, I think, coming from the university. I know, especially when I get on the university app, when I'm just using my phone and getting on the app, that's even more focused, really on a student, a student learner.
Yeah.
And this is so focused on what faculty can find to improve their teaching and to improve their own learning.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. What do you think next steps? I think this small group that's been meeting is the group that probably has the connections and the insight to at least get something rolling.
And I think the next steps are really like reaching out to the health sciences leadership and saying, this is what we have to offer. We can get a button for your area of focus. They can also use all of the other materials that we have on here. I always invite all of the different health sciences to our faculty development sessions, so they would have access to those videos and slide presentations to refer back to. The research support, I think, would be really helpful. It's not so medicine centric that other health sciences could take advantage of that as well. So I think really just getting the word out to our leadership and saying, hey, give us first name, last name, email of your faculty, and let's see how many people would like to get on and peruse. And one of the pieces that may be a deterrent is that not all the buttons are built out. So they may get on and say, oh, there's one for nursing, but we haven't built out the nursing. And it's because we just don't have all of that material yet. So I wouldn't want to discourage people from getting on. There's a lot of good material that's good for all health sciences. But if they start drilling down too far, they're going to get kind of a dead end, because it's been focused on medicine, and that's what we've been getting on here. And then of course just the time to get all of those buttons built out.
Yeah. I think I got my internet, of course I'm at the cardiac center and my internet crashed. Story of the cardiac center.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, I think that this would be a fantastic site to house a lot of SOTL information as well.
Yeah.
That is one thing that our faculty certainly lack, is information on the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning. And there are some amazing websites, like the International Society for the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning. And I could create some of these links.
I would love that, Mary, because if you just give me links and a good title or any kind of PowerPoint presentation or video, we can create something within here. So even if we went to educator development or went to clinical practice or wherever you think it might be helpful, in the research, wherever you would like it to go, then even once we get in here, I can create another tab for you and we can put information down below it.
Right.
That is helpful.
So already on the homepage, we have, because we created the link to IAMSI and the link to CGEA, on the bottom right, the International Association of Medical Science Educators is their group for women in medical sciences. These were all created LCME. So the IAMSI link is amazing. I mean, that society, it's international in scope. Ken Kramer and I just got back from the meeting, and we're actually going to present a workshop, pre-conference workshop next summer on our curriculum development, but that has an international reach. There were students, actually medical students and PA students from the Netherlands and from Singapore who presented on panels there. And this is an area that I think we faculty are not well informed about the actual education piece of it.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I would echo your comments, Mary, with the international groups, Amy and the the work in competency-based education, they come out, monthly with an update of all the current literature that's out in CDE.
Well, and Ron Harden was there. He's quite a character.
Well, he's the guru. He's going to retire as the secretary for medical for
Amy. Yes, I know.
I think there's so much that we could do. There's no question. And even I'm given in July, I'm giving a talk to anatomy. They're interested in educational research. So it's a meeting in Bloomington, Indiana. It's like, oh my God, anatomists want to do education research. It's really interesting.
What's really interesting is, so Bob Mackin was at this meeting. And he was in basic medical sciences here. He went to Georgia.
I know Bob. Yeah.
And so he was in my office about 3 years ago and wanted some evidence for why it is we do the active learning, the education that we do that we're with the new curriculum. And I gave him piles of evidence. He said, oh my gosh. And then he said to me, so what is your background? And I said, well, I'm an anatomist and a neuro person. And so is he. And he pointed out to me that most of the people in medical education fields have a background in anatomy. And it's really interesting. I did a straw poll at IAMC, and there, I would say a quarter to a third of the people in med ed have backgrounds in anatomy. And I don't know why. Probably because it's so hard to figure out how to teach it. Anyway, that's great.
Let's, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this video out to the rest of our committee, where we do have obviously different health sciences integrated into this committee. But I do want to say, if departments, if programs feel that their faculty do not have access to this, then if they get me their email, their first name, their last name, I could just get it on a spreadsheet or something like that, or even on a Word document would work. And I could start adding users in, where we could start building up the participant side of this. With different health sciences. I would love that. And the other piece that I think is so important that both of you mentioned is you have material. All the different health sciences have material that we could start putting on here to build out some of these buttons. They're not all going to be fancy in the beginning, but we, if somebody was to click on nursing and they at least had 5 different videos or articles or something that they know that they could get back to that, and it's something they could use and something they could share within their department, then it's helpful. So I think the two pieces are really building up the participant side and then really building up the material, where we could keep uploading this material onto JADE, then more people are going to go to it as we have more material and more links and more resources. So whatever you have that you would like me to add, you can just email it to me, and I can build that out. In the beginning, it's not going to be too fancy. It's going to be pretty basic, but it is something that I have gotten better at as I've taught myself how to do things. The other piece that I forgot to show you is right up here in the library. You may not find down here in those 3 buttons something that you were looking for, but maybe in the library, you might find something. Maybe I want something, I don't know, specific to, maybe you want something specific to anatomy. Let's see if there's something specific to anatomy that might not already be under a button. So, okay, you get anatomy of a manuscript, but you also get neuroanatomy and human anatomy, and these are not actually linked to a button right now. They're kind of just floating out there in the library, but it is another place where people can find what they're looking for, that they might not be able to find in one of the buttons that we've built out. So there is actually more material than what you can actually see behind one of the buttons, because the library does have different things that we may not have found a home for it. And it may be on the areas of practice, it may be under anatomy, you may be able to find one or two of those, but the library, you would be able to see a big group of things all at once and be able to choose what you're looking for.
Yeah. So Jessica, do you see a structure of organization would come under schools like the School of Pharmacy and Health Professions, the College of Nursing? Do you see it that kind of structure?
That's what I see down here in areas of practice.
Okay.
Because we want to, I don't want to just start deleting these buttons yet, because there may be material underneath something that we need to move someplace else. But I see down here in areas of practice, nursing, just a general button that they would be able to click on. We could start building out those different titles and different sections within nursing. But I don't want to get so specific like they started to do here in areas of practice that people don't know where to find something.
Yeah. So, but
yeah, go ahead.
But the education, the health professions, you know, common areas like knowing more about competency-based education, that be
something I think down here in my professional roles and memberships where we might have educator.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Or it could be something, it could be part of our educator development.
Yeah.
The kinds of things Mary was talking about, maybe under research where we're talking about scholarship, something more in clinical practice that isn't specific to a certain program we could put in here. So there's some different options. I just don't want the options to be so far and wide like they had started with.
Yeah, people won't be able to find anything. You're right.
Yeah, so we're going to start, we will keep paring these down, like I said, with the surgery one. I think there was probably a dozen of them, and I just put everything in surgery. and people can find the articles and things they were looking for there, because there wasn't, I mean, truthfully, there wasn't a built out page for hand surgery. You know, we didn't have enough information to really build that out. So it didn't make sense for them to be like, well, I'm a surgeon, but I'm an orthopedic surgeon, and there's other things that I do. I don't know what buttons to add. So let's just do surgery, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, but there are definitely options, Gail, and even when people turn in material to me, they can say, hey, I want it to be one of the main links right here, because it's general for a lot of different people, and then we can do that. Or I want it to be just for undergraduate, maybe the UME or the GME, maybe there would be something specific for them that you ran across that we could put it in their area as well.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, the thing I would say, when I meet periodically with Mardell, with the provost, and she understands from what my comment, she understands the role of JADE and the need to have a system that can be accessed by people off the university site. So I think she gets it.
I mean, really, you have thousands of faculty that are, and they're not always coming into the university to be able to put their net ID in and their blue password. So it's a nightmare to get people access. It's just, it's still a nightmare. So
it is. And if I remember correctly, part of the premise behind developing JADE or getting it was the need, our LCME requirements for equitable faculty development across campuses for the medical school. We need to have some way and that's why it was created off-site, because of the problem with access. So, I mean, it's something that we have when's our next accreditation visit? 6 years, 5 years. And so we've got to make sure, we've got to be able to provide evidence that our faculty development is equally accessible regardless of where, because we're expanding even more and more now in all of the health professions. So
Right. I mean, really, just if you look at even just Phoenix alone, I mean, it's just exploding here compared to what it was even a year ago, 2 years ago. So we like that we're using JADE as an option for people that do not have that access that we're talking about with the IPs. But I also I kind of think of this like my little baby, because I've been putting so much material on there. It's the reason I don't want it to go away. And I would rather keep building up what we already have so that we don't feel like we're starting from scratch or starting from ground zero. I think we have a good thing going here. I just would like more participants, more wide, diverse participants in different programs. And then the material, let's just keep building up the material as we go along.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense that the group that's come together, the people that are involved in faculty development across, that's kind of the importance for a working or executive committee that can really help make the contacts and bring the, that's important.
Exactly.
Yeah.